We're at this amazing crossroads right now where artificial intelligence is meeting the world of sports. And it's a place where data science is going head to head with one of the toughest prediction markets out there, sports betting. So today, we're going to break down exactly how you can build an AI model using only public data to find a real mathematical edge.
So this is it, right? The million-dollar question. Can you, an individual with a laptop and some clever code, actually take on the billion-dollar companies that run the sportsbooks? Well, the short answer is yes, but it's the how that makes all the difference.
Okay, first things first, we've got to bust a huge myth. So many people think you can just build some magic black box that prints money. The reality? It's way, way harder than that. This isn't some get-rich-quick scheme. It's a game of data, of discipline, and of grinding out tiny, consistent advantages over a very long time.
So to find an edge, you first have to understand who you're playing against. And trust me on this, the sportsbooks are incredibly smart. See, they're not just taking bets, they're actively managing a market. They have their own super advanced models, they track every single dollar coming in, and this is the big one, they adjust their odds in real time based on what they call sharp money. That's the cash coming from the smartest, most successful bettors. You're not just trying to beat a number, you're competing against one of the most efficient information markets on the entire planet.
So to even get in the game, we have to learn to speak the language of that market. And that language is all about the betting odds.
You see, every sort of odds has a probability hidden inside it. We call that implied probability. Think of it as the market's official prediction. So if a team is listed at -110, the market is saying they have a 52.4% chance of winning. The entire goal of our AI model is to figure out a more accurate probability than that one.
So how does the house always seem to win? Well, just look at the implied probabilities for both sides of a game. They never add up to a perfect 100%. In this case, you get 104.8%. That extra 4.8%, that's the sportsbook's commission, what they call the VIG. It's their built-in profit margin, and it means you are starting at a disadvantage on every single bet you make.
All right, so now that we know the battlefield, let's talk about building our engine. How do we take all these raw numbers and turn them into something that can actually predict the future? And here's the good news. You don't need some secret insider information. The most powerful data is actually public. We can start just by collecting the opening odds for a game, the closing odds, and tracking exactly how that line moved in between. That data alone, it's a goldmine. And this brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most important point of this entire breakdown. It's not about having the fanciest algorithm. The secret sauce, the place where you really find an edge, is in what's called feature engineering. It's all about how creatively you can transform that raw data into meaningful signals that a model can understand. Let me show you how that works. A beginner feature like a team's win-loss streak is pretty basic, right? It doesn't tell you who they beat. But an intermediate feature like an ELO rating is way more powerful because it adjusts a team's strength based on how good their opponents were. And then you get to the advanced stuff, like closing line value, which actually measures if you're consistently beating the final, most efficient market price. Every level gets you closer to finding a true predictive signal. Okay, so we've built a model and it's spitting out probabilities. Now what? How do we actually turn that prediction into a smart bet? The answer is a concept called expected value, or EV. This is the absolute, non-negotiable decision-making layer of the whole system. It takes our model's probability and the sportsbook's odds and calculates the average return on that bet. And the rule is dead simple. If the EV is positive, you bet. If it's negative, you don't. Period. Let's make that real for a second. Let's say you find a bet with a 5% positive EV. That means for every single dollar you put down, you can expect to profit 5 cents. On average, over the long run. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, I know, but that tiny little edge, when you compound it over thousands of bets, is exactly how professionals make their living. So yeah, forget about those 50% returns you see in movies. A truly successful, profitable model might only have a return on investment and ROI of just 1 to 5%. The goal here isn't to hit some massive lottery ticket. It's all about consistency and volume. And this might be the most important rule of all. Even a fantastic, winning model will go through absolutely brutal losing streaks. That's just the nature of variance. The only thing that lets you survive those downturns is ironclad bankroll management. By betting a small, consistent amount of your total funds, say 1 to 2%, you guarantee that a bad run of luck doesn't completely wipe you out.
So, as we pull this all together, the key thing to remember is that your edge doesn't come from any single piece of this puzzle. It's not just the data, and it's not the fancy model. Your real edge is the entire system working together perfectly.
A winning system looks like this. It all starts with high-quality data. It lives and dies by that creative feature engineering we talked about. It only makes decisions based on positive expected value. It's tested and retested over and over again. And finally, it's never really finished. You have to be continuously improving it just to stay ahead of the market.
And that kind of leads us to a final thought. We are living in an era where sports are generating more data than we've ever seen. Player tracking, biometrics, you name it. The market is always getting smarter and more efficient. So the real question isn't just whether you can find an edge today, but where are the sharpest minds out there going to find the next one tomorrow?